8% up to 17.4% for Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, and VA beneficiaries. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now in this video, I do want to discuss some details I've seen in the headlines a number of times recently that would directly impact the tens of millions of beneficiaries I just mentioned a few seconds ago, and how all of this would translate into more money in your pocket. Let's get into it and talk about what this information is now suggesting. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and because we are rapidly approaching 500,000 subscribers right here on the channel, and it would mean so much to me if you hit that subscribe button right down below. And remember, I am your one and only daily advocate. It is my dedication, my commitment, and my promise to you and everybody right here in the community to continuously be here right by your side every single day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, as it's a very busy, confusing, and a very uncertain time that we're currently living through right now. I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be, so you can stay updated with what's actually going on and how it's going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course, just staying tuned with all of this information. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about what these reports are now suggesting and how it would impact the tens of millions of beneficiaries that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. All right, so I'm actually going to be referencing a couple different reports right here in this video because this is what I've been seeing out there, and I want to bring this to your attention because this is coming up more than just once out there. This is actually showing up a number of times recently, probably indicating that this is probably an issue that they probably should have handled a long time ago, and it's also better illustrating the situation that is playing out right now, right before our very eyes. I think a lot of us are going to look at these numbers here and look at all of this that's going on and probably relate to what's actually happening, because I think all of us are living this right here, right now, and this is all going to resonate very closely with a lot of us here in this video. All right, so let's talk through the details. First off, we're going to be talking about the last couple years here, 2021 and 2022, as well as 2023. Now, this all relates to your annual cost of living adjustment for the millions of beneficiaries that I mentioned earlier in this video. And again, you know the whole list, right? It encompasses about 70 million beneficiaries. So in 2021, the annual cost of living adjustment was 1.3%. That seems like incredibly low. Could you even imagine what a 1.3% COLA would look like anymore? Beyond like all of us being incredibly insulted, I think that's basically what it would come down to. But that's what it was in 2021. However, 2022, it was 5.9%. And then obviously in this year, 2023, it is 8.7%. However, now let's look at the details about all of this and how this whole thing is shaking out, because these numbers actually should have been significantly higher. And that's exactly what these reports are now suggesting. Now get this, I'm going to break down all the details about this. Remember last year, 2022, for the first half of the year, inflation was like upper 7%, mid 8%, even topping out at 9.1% in June of last year, 2022. That's crazy high, right? 9.1%. It topped out there, and it's been going down very, very slowly ever since. And as of recently, it pretty much plateaued, and it's basically been doing nothing other than basically going back up. Just to be real with you, it is actually going back up. And depends on what you look at over the last several months here, inflation has actually been going up on a lot of different things. Even though the headline number has been showing inflation is going down, it's actually still going up on things like shelter, healthcare, housing, food, things like this, the necessities. Yup, inflation is still going up. But we also know that inflation directly relates to the COLA, right? The COLA, the cost of living adjustment, is basically calculated off of the inflation numbers, okay? That's why I'm talking about inflation here. However, based on what inflation was doing last year, and again, the COLA being 5.9%, we know that it was significantly behind the curve, as in inflation was sitting at mid 8% range throughout the course of the entire year. And in the cost of living adjustment for last year was 5.9%. Therefore, it was below, or it was behind by like like 2.5% throughout the course of the entire year last year. Well, the reports are now suggesting that the COLA last year alone in 2022 should have been 8%. That's what it should have been rather than the 5.9%, just to keep everybody up with kind of relatively close to inflation, what it actually was versus what the COLA actually was producing. Well, as a result of that, that would have given the average beneficiary an extra $42 every single month last year alone, which, by the way, over the course of the entire year, that would have been just under $500 more through the course of the entire last year, just because of the COLA being behind. That cost everybody $500 on average just last year. However, now let's talk about this year, 2023, and the numbers are going to get even bigger here. So again, the inflation data last year is what predicated the cost of living adjustment for this year, 2023, the 8.7%, right? However, here's what they're now suggesting. For this year, again, alone, even 8.7%, they're actually suggesting that the COLA this year, just to make up for the lost money last year and what inflation is going to be doing this year, again, we're still relatively early in the year. There's a lot of time left this year in 2023. We will see what happens to go on with inflation. But they're actually suggesting that the COLA this year, 2023, should have been doubled. Rather than 8.7%, it should have been doubled up to 17.4% is what beneficiaries should have been receiving this year. Now get this. Just because of the 8.7% COLA this year, the average beneficiary is getting an extra $144 per month on their benefit, which, by the way, that is for Social Security retirement beneficiaries. Social Security disability beneficiaries are getting, on average, $118 more per month this year. So again, they're just suggesting that if the COLA actually would have been doubled this year, what it should have been, according to the reports, 17.4%, the average beneficiary would rather be getting, rather than the $144 that the average retiree is getting, they'd be getting $288 every single month. Now again, that's costing everybody about $144 on average every single month, or about, what is that, $1,600 a year this year alone. Just because of that, it's going to cost about $1,600. It's a lot of money that people really, really need right now. Now, for the average disability beneficiary, again, if the COLA would have been doubled up to that 17.4%, the average disability beneficiary currently getting $118 more should actually be getting about $236 more every single month right now versus the $118. Again, it's a lot of money, right? That's like, what is that, $1,300 a month or something? No, sorry, not a month, through the course of the entire year. I think it's about $1,300. I'm just kind of roughly adding in my head right now. So again, that's a ton of money that people need right now. Now again, if we were to talk about it, this would be almost like the equivalent of a check, like a stimulus check. I mean, seriously, you see how these numbers equal out very, very close to about what a stimulus check would be? Just saying, right? We've talked about this before, but again, kind of funny how all these numbers kind of calculate out to, oh, gee, look at that. It would be about the same amount as a stimulus check. Now, let's quickly talk about SSI for just a second here. SSI beneficiaries, the maximum you can get right now in 2023 is $914. It was an increase of $73 per month over what it was last year. However, if they would have doubled the COLA, guess what? That $73 would have actually been $146. And your benefit right now, the maximum benefit, rather than $914, would have been, what is that, $987? Again, just under $1,000 a month. I believe that's accurate. I just added it up really quickly there. But again, just under $1,000 for SSI. So again, could you see how this would have changed the lives of a lot of people? Now, don't get me wrong. I completely understand. This would not be like so much that it's like, wow, our lives are like 100% better, right? I get it. That would not change so much, so drastically that it'd be like, the best thing in the world. But at the end of the day, it would certainly help, right? For an SSI beneficiaries, would an extra $73 per month help you out a little bit? I think so. How about an SSDI beneficiary? Would an extra $118 a month help you out a little bit? Yeah. How about an Social Security retiree? An extra $144 on top of it. On average, by the way. Yeah, again, it would help out a ton, right? So these are the numbers that are popping up, and this is what they're suggesting in these reports, is that the COLA really should have been doubled the last 2 years. Well, this year alone, I should say. This year in 2023, they're suggesting it should have been twice as much at that 17.4%. And last year alone, it should have been about a little over 2% higher than what they actually had it to be. So 5.9% last year, but it really should have been about 8%. But realistically, let's just be real for a second. Last year, inflation was 8+% across the entire year. But they were basically just averaging it all out, saying, worst case scenario, it really should have been about 8% versus the 5.9. But again, inflation was sitting well over 8% for a lot of last year, 2022, right? On its way up, it spent a lot of time in the 8+% range, even topping out at that 9.1%, and even back on its way down through the second half of the year, it still remained well above 8% for quite a few months. So again, averaged out, even 8%, I feel like is probably a little bit low. Probably should have been more around the 8.5% range last year for beneficiaries. But again, obviously, this is all hindsight. We can see all this clearly here, but will they go back and do anything retroactive? Again, probably not. There's just a very low likelihood of that ever happening. But these are what the reports are now suggesting. Now, the big question is that many people are watching now. And again, as of right now, it is way, way too soon to look at this and to determine what it will actually be for 2024. But a lot of people are wondering, I wonder what the COLA will be for 2024, right? So we'll have to see what happens here, but this inflation that we're currently looking at right now in the United States has certainly bottomed out, well above the benchmark for where the Federal Reserve wants it to be, and it's actually moving higher yet again. So we'll see what happens this year. It's already a pretty interesting one so far, and of course, I'll continue to watch that, and it's all going to translate into what's going to happen with the COLA next year for 2024, but that is a long time out from now. There's really no reason to sit here and talk about it forever because still a long time away, but either way, I'll continue watching everything closely. Any new bills, packages, and proposals, money, checks, raises, anything like that, of course, I'll bring it to your attention right away. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. I really do appreciate your support. I'm here for you as much as I can be. Again, make sure to share this video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and catch you again later in the next video.